my job was to choose to select the artist. Mr. Benetton's idea was to have the artist with the dynamism, and it's quite active. So I decided not include any students or any very immature artists, but rather they're very active in the market and so on. I picked certain art professors from many Japanese art schools. And I asked them whatsoever the criteria, but it's just to find me the good artist, what they like. They come from all different, even the Japanese traditional, the painting, the very Western or very contemporary, they're all mixed. So in that, as a genre of the paintings, they're very varied. Varied, and they don't have anything in common. But that was, I think, my main focus, to not to have any certain commonness amongst these 200 artists. Overall, I think the artists did their work on these small canvas, but when you put together 200 of them, and if they're good artists and they have enough talent to express themselves on their small canvas, obviously we have to see some Japan in it. But it's not so easy, because the subject or any subject that I given was not Japan. I gave them to do whatever they want to do, just to freely. No subject was assigned anything. So it's hard to see Japan right out of the small canvas. But if you see 200 of them, and all Japanese artists, obviously I'm counting on to see some Japan coming out of this, and I hope that all the audience will see that differently, but they will feel something about Japan. Oh, whatever they feel, that must be Japan. At the beginning, I was not so keen of doing this because of the size. I thought it is too small. But when I brought it out to the artists, it was quite surprising for me that they were not so bothered or annoyed by this small size. And they say that, it's no problem. All came out very nice. And I was so impressed that, because I was a little afraid that they couldn't express themselves easily on the canvas, but they did. And I had to change my mind, and I was very happy to know the result. The character of the Japanese in general, they are very precise and they're very organized people in general. And after receiving all the small canvases, I found that all the detail worked, and they did spend quite some time working on it. It's not just a brief, it's because it's small, even it's a small, they go into the detail. You will see the preciseness on most of the Japanese artists' works. And since it's a very small, they want to do more in a way, and they see the back of the canvas is it's nothing to work on it. So they went on to work on, in a way, the three-dimensional. It was supposed to be just two-dimensional work, but when they saw the catalog from the other countries, they showed the back of the canvas. So they figured out why not to do something on it. Just so they went on, and quite a few there are many wits, and I asked Mr. Benetton if it's possible. We'd like to see the back of the canvas. It was a particular request from Mr. Benetton to include some calligraphy. So I looked for some artists who are specialized in calligraphy, but not just all traditional calligraphy, but more of the artistic way they sort of elaborated into to art. There are some artists not sticking to old traditional calligraphy, but really mix-ups or just the way of their presenting. It is a calligraphy, but the way of their presenting is more artistic. I personally believe the artist must have done some kind of the traditional background or traditional works study. The traditional painting, they have all the way to preserve the artworks for hundreds of years. And if you use some materials, it looks very nice, but it's something very chemical. It may change the color, or it may come out of the canvas in 10 years. I like to work with the artist who has a tendency so that he works on something that, and he can be responsible for this work, this piece of art, maybe in 50 years or even in 100 years, that lasts for the history. And in order to do that, I think you need to know some kind of tradition. But if you stick to the tradition too much, you're just copying and copying, and there's not much of the interest. So there's an important balance of the tradition and also the seeking for the new, the contemporary part of yourself or something new. But in this a project, most of the artists that I know, they do balance well on both sides. Mr. Luciano decided to come over, fly over to Paris right here, and to meet me and to share the sort of exchange the idea. And so I think he was already very interested in the culture we have in Japan. So there's no doubt about it. Why not to do it in Japan? When I start seeing these artists for explaining about this exhibition, they were very happy to. They were sort of delighted to participate. The name Benetton was big enough that so the people felt comfortable enough to participate in this. At the beginning, I thought I knew that it would be okay, but after receiving all these pieces, I recognized it was more than okay. It really turned out to be great. It really opened my sort of vision in a way that I didn't really look into this kind of artists or this kind of artists I didn't know, but it really opened up for me. And it was a very nice occasion. And it was a lot of work, but it was fun.